What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Koala and The Root. It's been a while.
It's been
Happy
too
New
long.
Year, Vin.
Happy New Year.
This is our first of the year, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Man, we really got to get on some sort of schedule. This is getting pathetic.
Yeah, we're pretty bad at this.
Yeah.
You'll notice I messed up, and my podcasting shirt is in the wash.
Oh, no, but it's the same color.
So I'm wearing an orange shirt, and I'm going to keep Eddie right here.
I don't know how long he'll actually stay there. We've been purging, and we went through a lot of clothes. Lindsay went through hers on Sunday, and I went through mine today. And I found this beauty of a shirt.
Oh, that's pretty good. Uh-oh.
Oh.
You went all Skypey and just stopped.
What?
Eddie, can you take your shit cover tail? Thank you very much.
Okay.
Man, you are Skyping out.
All right, I will. Hopefully, it's not showing up like this on a recording, but if it is, so be it. We'll maybe edit it out. This sucks. I'm gonna have to send a quick message to my wife saying, "Please don't watch HBO because it's messing me up."
Oh no. You gotta get some better internet over there at the Merritt residence.
We have the fastest available, but it's only 18 megs.
Oh man, you gotta switch providers.
Well, Cox sucks.
Comcast.
Comcast is not in Manchester. It's stupid.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, you're screwed. Well, you're screwed. Hey, so while you're texting your wife, let's talk about things.
So this is a very as you could probably tell from our intro that this is going to be a Star Wars centric episode.
Very exciting.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So you've seen Star Wars?
I have seen all 7 of them.
Wait, there's 7?
There's 7 episodes.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Okay. Had to map it out. Okay. So
yeah.
I guess I should do my homework now. Let's see. So I saw the one with the whiny kid on a desert planet.
Wait, which whiny kid?
The whiniest kid on a desert planet. I saw the one with the little green dude in the swamp.
Okay.
I saw the one with the miniature bears nubbing around the forest. Ewoks. Okay. I saw the 3 good ones with Jar Jar. Was that his name? Jar Jar Binks. Those are great. I loved the pod race. I loved young Anakin. I even loved prepubescent and pubescent Anakin Skywalker. They were fantastic. Just best movies done ever, bar none. And I guess I heard there was a 7th one out, but I guess I haven't seen it yet. And Jason froze drinking his beer.
Oh, come on. This is awful.
Lindsay,
come on, Google.
Stop staring at Adam Driver and let us do our podcast.
Oh, I hope this isn't one of those lost episodes.
Oh man. Should we bullshit just a little bit and see how things go before we dive into it, just in case?
Just in case, yeah. So before we dive into the Star Wars, what else have you been up to, man? Did you have a good New Year's, Christmas, all that fun stuff?
I did. I had a very nice holiday.
Do you have a gift there?
No, I mean, this is a gift to myself.
Okay.
It just came in the mail the other day.
Did you save it to open for the podcast?
Maybe.
This is exciting. So Vin's got a long, skinny box.
Yeah, I do.
So he's opening up live on air. This is very exciting. I'll give you a play-by-play. He is cut through the prime tape. It's from Amazon, it looks like. He's slowly opening the box. The cat has already jumped off of his lap. In this, he has a Star Wars Lego set with Kylo. Wow, that looks amazing.
Looks pretty cool, right? Yeah, look at this. You got all the little minis you get in there. You got a little Kylo Ren. You got a little. It's a little set number, 1,000 pieces.
1,000 pieces too. Whew.
It's a good size set. Yeah. Oh,
That'd be a nice size, nice and big. You got a spot for it on your built-ins back there?
So you see, I've got these garden windows. I don't know how well you can see it over there, but they're the garden windows. I've got one in the dining room. That is our regular Lego spot. So build a set, put it on display, leave it up for a little time, a month or two. Tear it down, build another one, put it up. That's my current solution to what do I do with all these Lego sets. The thing is, I love Lego, not just because they're cool to play with, but they're really fun to build. I don't know, I get a kick out of that. It's very very meditative, and I enjoy the process. So rather than just building them all once and displaying them, letting them collect dust, put them up, let them get a little dust, but you clean them off real easy, put them away, and start a new one. You just recycle them all. That's my solution when you don't have all the room in the world to display.
That's a good idea, though, because then you get to remake it again, and you're actually using it, and you're getting some enjoyment out of it instead of putting it together once and then it's done forever.
I've never been much of a collector for the sake of collecting. If it's not gonna be read or handled or played with or whatever, I'm not that interested.
I like
generally speaking. Though I do. Oh, did I put them out here? No, I guess I did. We were cleaning out the basement, and I did find an original VHS copy of RoboCop that I decided to keep.
Now, so we've cleaned out our basement.
Mm-hmm.
And Lindsay and I always go back and forth as far as the whole VHS thing goes. Because we do have quite a bit of VHS Disney movies that would be a nice thing to have.
Yeah.
But it's VHS, and I know the second we connect it to the TV, it's going to be awful. The quality is going to be horrendous, and it's not even going to really be worth it to take up that much space.
Well, okay. So, yes, I agree with you 100%. One thing I will say is it will be worth it to you and to Lindsay for the first 5-10 minutes to get that nostalgic feeling watching a VHS tape again. We are so conditioned to high definition at this point that going back and seeing the track lines, it's going to bring you back, and it's going to be a fun experience at some point. But you're right. It's going to last 5-10 minutes, and then it's over. And then you've got a massive collection of VHS. My point here is that of all the things that I don't collect, there are a few things that I will hold on to for sentimental values, like RoboCop. It's VHS. There is a strong likelihood it will never touch a VCR in its lifetime from here to the end of its days, but I like having that on my shelf. It's a piece of my history. It's a piece of my childhood, and it's an actual piece. It's not a piece that I purchased again because I wanted to have that, something that I had. This was the actual one that was in our household that was watched 100 times over, and so
that's cool. I understand keeping a piece like that, but yeah, fun fact though, you can actually go on YouTube, and while you're watching a video, you can hit like Control V or something along those lines, and it'll actually put the track lines in there, so it's like you're watching a VHS tape.
Really, that's fun. Let's see. Let's see what this says. YouTube tracking lines.
Let's see. How to make YouTube show tracking lines. VHS like tape mode.
YouTube VHS mode. Is that what you're looking at in Lifehacker?
Yeah. So yeah, Lindsay got this book for Christmas, and it's all about sorting out, making your life simpler, sorting out stuff, kind of getting rid of the things you don't need. So we kind of started, and it's actually a really good idea because when you kind of go through stuff, you kind of go through a room at a time. And you will collect stuff in one room, and then you don't think about having that same exact thing in another room.
Yeah.
So kind of what we did is, what the book says is do an article at the same time. So instead of doing all the clothes in your room and kind of ignoring the ones in the basement, do all your clothes at once. So that's kind of what we did. We've gotten rid of so much because of it. It's actually really amazing. Feel a lot more free because of it. But yeah, that's what I did all night tonight while you were watching Star Wars.
I just want to point out the ad here, also in Lifehacker, the beginner's guide to butt play.
I do see that too, actually.
How that came up with a YouTube thing is beyond me, but I thought I would share.
Yeah, so did you find it out, or?
The beginner's guide to butt play? Yeah, it's a risky click, but I clicked it.
I was talking about the VHS.
Oh yeah, right. So you have to add a tag at the end. So if you add the ampersand, and VHS equals 1 to the end of a YouTube. Well, it says adding it to the URL. I'm assuming it to the end. So let's go to YouTube and try this out. Let's see. And then I think at this point, you've been pretty stable for a couple minutes. Maybe we attempt our conversation.
I think that's a really good idea. Must have been from Josh watching YouTube. He's probably about to jump in the shower. So
okay, so we have about 45 minutes.
45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Does this work? Nope.
It didn't work.
Nope. It did not work. I mean, it didn't just destroy
That's not what I copied. Oh well. Oh well. Well, give it a try. It's and VHS-1 or equals 1?
Equals 1.
Okay. Well, I'll try it out later, and maybe that'll give me my nostalgia for watching a VHS tape. I do miss video rental stores, though.
Yeah, what do you miss about them?
I don't know. It's just so cool going, not knowing what we were going to watch, and walking around the store, figuring out, picking one. It was just a lot of fun.
Did you ever rent video games while you were renting from the video store?
Yes.
Yeah, that was my big deal. Renting movies was cool, but those video games, man, that's where it was at.
Absolutely. So, we're back on Star Wars. Sorry for the delay. We wanted to make sure we didn't have any Skypiness, but you've heard of Star Wars, right?
I've heard of Star Wars. I've seen at least 4 of them.
Bullshit.
I've seen most of them.
Bullshit.
I haven't seen everything. I've only seen the first episode of Rebels. I've only seen the first couple seasons of Clone Wars. There's Star Wars out there that I haven't seen yet. I haven't played all of the games. I never finished Shadows of the Empire. I probably only finished X-Wing. I didn't finish TIE Fighter. Dark Forces, I think I finished, but the sequels not necessarily. There's a ton of books. There's a ton of comics. There's plenty of stuff I haven't seen.
Well, there is a lot of Star Wars out there, so I would understand. But from a theatrical movie standpoint...
Oh, I saw all of those, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, how many times have you seen Star Wars The Force Awakens?
So tonight was the 7th time.
Wow, I am so jealous.
Now, have we talked about why we've been pushing for so many views?
No, we have not, actually.
Okay, so it's sort of... I'm a jerk. You know this. I know this. And I didn't mean to do this, but I sort of shamed Becky. Her previous record for number of times to watch a film in a theater is 7, and that was for the movie Titanic. And so I can't really let that record stand.
Okay.
And I've shamed her into believing that that's a valid excuse. So we are going to go at least one more time if God willing and the creek don't rise. We'll see it at least once more so we can break her record and officially clear her name.
Okay, that does make sense now. As for Lindsay and I have been, every time you guys go again, we're like, why are they going so many times? I'm like, because it's an amazing effing movie. That's why they're going.
That's really the primary reason. We love the shit out of that movie. It's a lot of fun. And I've admitted, I've had plenty of conversations where I've admitted to every single one of them that I am a bright-eyed fanboy and that I am happily overlooking all inconsistencies and all things that anyone can complain about this movie. I'm happily ignoring them. I know they exist. For me, it doesn't detract from the pleasure I derive from the film. And so looking past all of that, every time I go and see it, I see something new and something fun. I've come up with a couple of silly theories. You and I have talked about one of them, and we'll come back to that. On tonight's viewing, I came up with a new one.
I can't wait to hear it. But before we talk about 7, let's talk about the first 6. Vin's emulating my weird movements. I've been watching a lot of It's Always Sunny, and I love Charlie. Okay. Yeah. And
Charlie's a fucking maniac. I love him.
He's hilarious. Between Charlie and Danny DeVito, I love him.
Oh god, I hate to love that show, but I love to hate. I love it. It's great. It's great. It's fun. It's ridiculous. Right. It's at times infuriating, but anyway, Star Wars.
It really is. Star Wars. So you watched all 6 beforehand. Obviously, yeah. You watched one a week, right?
Shot for that. It ended up. We started 6 weeks before. We ended up having to double up at one point here and there, but yeah, essentially averaged out one a week for 6 weeks leading up to the release. Sort of cheated a little bit on the prequels. I slept through most of them, but we had them on and we made the effort. So, yeah.
The story just wasn't there.
Yeah, man. So again, when I went to see Phantom Menace, the same fanboy blinders were on. I went in and I loved it. I had a great time. There's nothing that I thought was wrong with this film. And I remember talking to my senior year English teacher, who was also a Star Wars fan, who was so frustrated with that film. And I couldn't understand. I mean, until I even had a chance to talk to him, my first thought is, how could anyone not have liked this? This is Star Wars. This is the greatest thing ever. Did you see Darth Maul? Did you see the pod race?
The only 2 good parts of the movie?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, Qui-Gon Jinn was cool. I love that guy. Yeah, name escaped me all of a sudden. Liam Neeson. Thank you.
Jar Jar.
Liam Neeson is fantastic. I all of a sudden discovered there's an actor named Ewan McGregor who turns out I really love. Ewan McGregor shows up again in a couple other films that I would watch just because he was in it. Mm-hmm. It had a weird plasticky looking Yoda that they eventually erased and made a CG Yoda out of. They had a Yertle. Do you remember Yertle?
Yertle, no.
They had a Lady Yoda in there that they deleted.
Oh, they did? See, I haven't watched any of the extras.
Well, no, she wasn't an extra. She was in the film. And in the subsequent re-releases, when they changed Yoda into a CG Yoda, they also deleted Yertle.
Oh, see, I have the re-released ones, so that must be it.
Yeah, if you had seen the theatrical,
I have the Blu-ray set, so
yeah. If you saw the original, and I think you can see it on YouTube, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was garbage. and going back and watching it now, I see that. The blinders are off, and the films simply haven't aged well. I mean, the special effects seemed groundbreaking at the time, but we're talking, what is that now? Almost 20 years ago, right? It looks like garbage.
It was 15, about 15, but yeah.
15?
Yeah.
15 years ago. It just didn't hold up. And that's not to say that J.J. Abrams' newest one will, but I think it will. I do. I think we see a lot of the love that he put into it, working on the practical effects and all that. I think will really show, prove the test of time.
Right. So my brother, who I told, who's an avid listener and loves the podcast, and is always bugging me, when you guys going to record? When you guys are recording? I'm like, we have families. It's not. It's hard and we suck. So we're trying. I told him, well, you're not going to be able to listen to the next podcast because it's Star Wars, and he doesn't know too much about it. So, how would you recommend watching someone who wants to take in all 6? I'm actually going to send him the Blu-ray set so he can watch them before going to 7. What would be the best way to watch these to enjoy it the most?
Mm-hmm. So this, it's funny. I've been asked this question multiple times in recent history. So let me ask you this. Let's start off with a baseline here. What sort of things does your brother like? Does he like sci-fi?
Yes.
Okay. So you think he might have no problem getting into Star Wars in general?
I don't think he'd have a problem getting in, no.
Okay. My honest answer is, I actually, at this point, unless he can really commit to watching the original films quickly, I would say start with 7. Because
Really?
I think it's an important landmark to see this thing in theater.
I agree wholeheartedly with that.
And it's been out what, month and a half now, maybe more. The DVD was already announced to be coming out in April, so it's not going to be in theaters that much longer. Now, maybe there's no reason to rush out, but I would say if he's not going to watch at least 4, 5, and 6 in the next week, skip them. Come back to them later. Go see 7. Go see it in the theater. He's going to know nothing going in, or what little he knows, but it's going to be enough.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to spoil the surprise in episode 5.
I think that's pretty well known, no matter who.
Okay.
How outside of it you are. I won't. I mean,
it's permeated popular culture. Absolutely.
Yes. Now going back, I would love to erase my memory of Star Wars and watch 5.
Yeah.
With that shock. Like, I am so jealous of Amelia when she gets to that point of watching them that she's going to be like, wait, that bad guy's his daddy?
Yeah. And now you're going to have to be, I forget, we chatted about some news, and that was on air?
Yes.
Okay. So new merit on the way. You're going to have to be careful and train Amelia not to let the secret slip, right?
Right.
That's going to be tricky.
I don't know. She's actually not that good with secrets.
She's what? How old is she now?
She's 2.5.
She's 2.5. So she's going to be...
She's still got some time until she gets to that point, and maybe at that point he may be watching it too. We'll see.
Yeah, now here's the additional problem. I've had this conversation with Corey many years ago, and Corey was very anxious to get his 2 children, Sarah and Ethan, watching Star Wars before it could be spoiled for them. But this is in a world before we even knew that Episode 7 was going to happen.
Right.
It's different now, right? We're back into the age of Star Wars. Maybe a very grandiose statement, but Star Wars hasn't been in the zeitgeist in this way, with this fervor, in decades. When The Phantom Menace came out, we were probably close to this fever pitch, but the movie wasn't that good, and it was only by the grace of the fans that it maintained some degree of excitement. But I don't think that excitement was there for 2 and 3 either. And at least in my recollection, 7 has dwarfed those in its excitement and its coverage and everything. And so Star Wars is big. It's big again. It's bigger than I think it was ever since Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Which means it's going to be that much harder to keep the secret.
Yes. So AKA before she starts school, I gotta play.
Well, right, and then the next problem you're going to have is, well, do you rush it? Do you start her young? In which case, she's fidgeting. She's not really paying attention. She doesn't really get the impact, the weight of the reveal. Or do you just pray and try your damnedest and hope that she can make it till she's 6 or 7, and then show it to her and hope that impact is there? It's tough. It's never going to be that way.
Yeah.
Never going to be the way it was when the movie first came out.
Oh man, decisions. Well, I got some time until I get to that point. It really, this is like life altering information that I'm trying to decide on. You know,
it's very important. Very important. Your child's future development hinges on this decision. But let's talk about your brother. I think your brother should go see 7, and then I think he should go back and watch 4, 5, and 6. And I'm going to say as quickly as possible, just to say that they should come in a sort of package. Watch them 1 a week. Watch them. Don't take 4 months to watch those 4, 5.
When he gets it, I know my brother. He'll watch the 6 seasons of a show within a week. It will be
so. Go watch 7, then watch 4, 5, 6. After that, take a break. If you haven't had enough Star Wars, you could watch 1, 2, and 3. But I'm gonna say it. I think those movies can be skipped entirely.
I tend to agree with you. So you did the 6-week thing. I did I wanted to do the 6-week thing, but I was just so busy, one thing after another after another. Next thing I know, we're into December. The movie came out. I'm like, oh, I'm going to wait like 2-3 weeks when it's not as busy. Then it's like, oh, crap, I have to worry about spoilers coming out. I want to go see it. I didn't watch any of the episodes yet. So I'm like scrambling through the week of Christmas. The week before, I watched pretty much all 6. And I finished, Empire's 5, right?
Empire's 5, Return of the Jedi is 6.
So I watched Return of the Jedi. I finished it right before I left for the movies. So, I cruised through them. And I would agree wholeheartedly with 1, 2, 3. You can probably skip, but there is some information that gets there, but you could really fill in the blanks yourself. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But I did send you a YouTube link the other day. Did you happen to watch it?
I didn't watch that. I didn't watch either of those, but I had, on your recommendation prior, watched a video too on that.
Okay.
On that subject. So I'm prepared.
All right. So the theory out there is, and I've talked to a whole slew of different Star Wars fans out there, except you, because I was saying it for this, that Jar Jar Binks was supposed to have a much bigger purpose. The purpose was he was actually meant to be the Sith Lord in charge of everything, in charge of Palpatine.
Yeah, so okay. Why don't you go ahead and give any details there, and then I will give you my opinion / rebuttal.
So it's been a while since I've seen the evidence, but I'll give a brief synopsis. Jar Jar Binks, if you watch the first episode, there's quite a few moments within that episode. They're very subtle, they're in the background, but where it seems like he's using the Force against his individuals. Now, this is, since he is a CGI character, this wouldn't be someone who is doing it by chance because of a nervous tick on the screen, because they're an actor or whatever. These were done purposely. So there's a part where Jar Jar wasn't going to, or the Queen wasn't going to go with them, and then he waved his hand in the background and mouthed the same exact words that the security guard did when he was saying, okay, fine, I think it's okay for you to go, something along those lines. When he interacted with, I can't remember the guy's name. The pod racer.
Oh, Newt Gunray?
Was that it?
Who?
The pod racer.
Sebulba?
Sebulba. Yes, thank you. Wow, you're good. Damn, man. So he purposely bumped into him so he can get Anakin to I can't remember that one. There's another one where Jar Jar is always showing disrespect to the Jedi in front of Anakin, so he gets that mentality from the start. So as he grows, he will never fully respect the Force and respect the Jedi. There's another one where he waves his hand in the background, and he uses the same exact when he gets promoted to commander in the army. He says the same exact things that the guy who was promoting him said. There's a whole slew of different things like this. So it's an 8-minute video and also a 14-minute video. I'm convinced, I really am, that Jar Jar had a much bigger role, but people hated him so much after the first movie that George got scared and didn't want to lose toy sales and changed his mind and just made 2 worse movies.
Okay. So I disagree wholeheartedly.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. If George Lucas had a vision for something, he was not going to back down from that. And he's proven that time and again. He does not give a shit what his fans think about his properties. At that point, Star Wars was his, and he was going to do what he damn well felt like he was going to do with them. So the fact that people didn't like Jar Jar Binks would not have fazed him.
Okay.
And if he had a plan for Jar Jar, he had all the time in the world to execute on that, and he didn't. So, took a couple quick notes. You were talking about the purposeful nature of Jar Jar's movements. Yes, absolutely. He's animated. So everything he's done was an intended thing. It wasn't some actor flubbing off screen.
Right.
But I think it wasn't something as nefarious as using Sith powers. He was a heel. He was the comedic character that George was trying to create for children to laugh at. And you know what? It worked. You know what? Kids watch that movie and they always laugh about Jar Jar Binks. He was a comedian. He was a joke. He was a fool. And that's what he's doing. And the disrespect of the Jedi was not the Jedi. It was the disrespect of the Force. And keep in mind that it's Jedi as a religion and Sith as a religion, but the Force is universal. The dark side taps into the Force. Palpatine talks about the Force. So he's not trying to discredit the Jedi in front of Anakin. He's talking shit about the Force. I think if he really had a better purpose, Lucas would have capitalized on that. Because especially if he's getting bad feedback on this guy, don't you think he's going to then say, well, shit, maybe I should do something about that? I think you went Skypey again. I think I lost you. So while you do that, I'm staring at my cat's butt covered in poop. So I'm going to have to get over there and take care of that in a second.
No worries. I'll chat it up. But right. I do you can go.
Chat it up. I'll be right back. I just got to go.
I'm so glad I don't have a cat with long hair. I'll just leave it with like that. But I do I disagree with Vin there. I think that he got scared, and I agree that normally George Lucas would, but he is so worried about sales with sales with his toys that if it messed up anything like that, it could mess him up in the future. But we'll agree to disagree here. And please, if you are a Star Wars fan, or if you're watching after you finish the first episode, or even if you're watching the first episode, just Google Jar Jar Sith Lord, and you'll see some crazy, crazy information, some crazy stats, some things that do make it lean that way. But we'll move on. So one cool thing about the Star Wars release that came out is they released these Google Cardboard VR viewers. Now, if you're not sure what Google Cardboard is Google has what kind of like the Post-it notes back in the day, where, hey, you got 80% of your time you're going to do the work we tell you to do, or the work you're supposed to do, and we're going to give you 20% to try working on your own and come up with some cool stuff. Post-it note, that was from that 20% at the time. Google does the same thing, and they got a few engineers got together and said, hey, let's come up with a VR. VR Oculus is making a crap ton of money right now. They just released their first product for $600 a pop. Google said, yeah, that's pretty cool, but that's expensive, and you need a crazy good graphics card to get into it. So Google's like, hey, everyone has one of these, a cell phone. What if we just made our cell phone into a VR and we'll make a viewer for it? Let's make it out of cardboard. It'll cost nothing. We could even leave the instructions online, and people can make it themselves if they wanted to. So what I have here is a Star Wars Google VR Finder. Verizon gave them out to all their customers for free if you went into the store. I told everyone I know to go do it. Some did, some didn't. I actually have 4 of them. I have the Kylo Ren. I have the Stormtrooper, BB-8, and R2-D2.
Oh, man. I'm sad I only got BB-8. I wish I'd gotten them all.
I told you to. I kept going. Well, I went once to get 2 of them, and then I had my cousin to go get the other 2 for me, so I could collect all 4.
That's cool. But
the VR thing that Google made is absolutely amazing. So if you didn't get one, order one online. You could use any phone. It doesn't have to be an Android phone. But the VR world is actually pretty big out there. They have apps centered around it. You can watch videos on YouTube with it. I watched one cooking show where it was actually they had the 360 camera set up, and they had 3 or 4 chefs around you, so you could watch the chef. You could literally look around the whole entire room and see everything. It was awesome. But this Google VR set that they gave out with Star Wars, for Star Wars, is amazing, and they had a whole app center around it. It was so cool. What do you think of it, Ben?
It was really cool. My favorite YouTube 360 VR video I've seen so far was a 360 view from the cockpit of a Blue Angels plane in formation.
No way.
That was fucking rad.
You didn't tell me about that all right. I know
That
I'm
was really cool.
while I'm editing the show.
I saw that last weekend actually, so not that long ago, and I thought, man, that's cool. That was neat.
So, with the whole VR thing, do you sit in a chair? Do you stand up?
So
I don't know what to do with myself.
I've tried them all. The first many times I stood up.
Same here.
And it was frightening. I was wandering around the house a little bit accidentally.
Yeah, because you want to step forward because you think you can move forward a little bit, or
yeah. So this last time I actually did sitting in this chair right here, so that I could just kind of spin in one place and not really have to worry about it, and it was comfortable.
Yeah, that's the best. So yeah, I love the whole Star Wars Google Cardboard thing. I love the Google Cardboard thing on its own, and it's just a great way to do a free or cheap VR experience, and it's actually really amazing.
It's really fun. Yeah, it's a hoot.
I haven't tried any of the actual games though. Do you need a controller for those, or?
I don't know. I guess it depends. So if you notice on the Google Cardboard you've got, there's a little sponge button.
Yeah.
So it's about the extent of the control you have there. You could potentially get a controller and strap the thing to your face. You can also, there are other cheap alternatives. If you have a Samsung phone, for $100, you could buy the Samsung VR, or is it the Gear VR, or whatever they call it. And you basically take your phone and you stick that in there, just like you do with Google Cardboard, but it's a nicer headset that just kind of sits on. So you can get a Bluetooth controller and, I guess, theoretically play stuff. I haven't gotten that far. I haven't really tried that much.
I'll get there eventually if I like it.
Yeah, I mean, VR is in its infancy, or I guess VR 2.0 or 3.0 at this point.
I call it 2.0.
I remember several times throughout my childhood when some kind of new VR technology came out.
But was it ever really for the home?
There were things. They were more like tiny screens that you put over your face.
Yeah,
it wasn't exactly VR. I think they were always cooler in my head than they actually were in reality. And I think this is probably the first time we've gotten to something that's really the technology has gotten to the point where you got head tracking, you got movement, you got all these things that you don't have 20 years ago.
There was a Nintendo Virtual Boy though.
Okay, so that wasn't exactly the same thing. That's actually more like what I was talking about.
Okay, it was just screen.
It was monochromatic, and it was seizure-inducing.
Oh God!
It was an utter failure. And it's actually got a pretty interesting history. There's some fun videos out there. Check out, I think Did You Know Gaming did a thing on the Game Boy in general, or maybe even specifically on the Virtual Boy. But it's funny. It's interesting. Yeah, that was from Virtual Reality 1.0 or maybe 1.5, and then it died away. Now it's back, and so I'd say in its current iteration, it's in its infancy. It's still incredibly expensive. I think 5 years from now, it'll be much more affordable. There'll be much more content out there, and at that point, I think we'll start to say, is it worth it or not? Kind of like 3D TVs.
Yeah, which you own one.
I do. But
you don't use it for 3D.
Yeah. So I bought that TV 4 years ago.
Yep.
And I've maybe watched 4 3D movies on it.
Ugh.
And it's not that I don't have them. Usually I buy the combo pack so I can get the digital version and the regular DVDs. I just don't. I don't know. Now I will say, let's bring it back to Star Wars. The IMAX 3D of Star Wars was the first theatrical film I've seen in 3D that was not distracting in 3D.
It really was. I'm so glad you recommended it.
Yeah, it was absolutely worthwhile. IMAX format is great. I love it. I Not an audiophile by any means, but I love big sound and I love big screens. And so I've always loved the IMAX. The bigger, the better. And so I'm glad I went to see it in IMAX and didn't let the fact that it was in 3D sway me, because it actually looked okay. It was a nice subtle 3D. At no point did it feel forced. Forced. It didn't hurt. You know, it was clear. So yeah, IMAX Studio is cool. So Star Wars, yeah, love it. Star Wars.
So the first three,
Now your brother should watch them eventually.
I agree, and there is a recommendation out there. If you don't care about the whole theory that Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord, there was they call it the chainsaw method, I think it was, or maybe the machete method. Is you watch, and this was before the movie came out to get ready for the movie. You watch 4 or 5, then 2, 3, and then 6.
Okay, I've got another suggestion for your brother. Watch 4, 5, 6. So start with 7. Go see it in the theater before it leaves. Watch 4, 5, 6, and then if you want to catch up on the first 3, go onto YouTube and watch the fan edits.
Oh, really?
They've actually cut out a lot of the garbage and made it better films.
That's pretty cool.
If you want to see it, go to YouTube, watch the fan edits for 1, 2, and 3. You're not going to completely erase all the bullshit love story or the terrible acting or any of that, but it's going to be a more watchable film at least. That would be my recommendation.
Good to know.
And I'm going to take a small step back and say, yeah, when you get a chance, do watch those, because there's other stuff out there that we've talked about already that's worth watching. The Clone Wars series, both the Cell animated 2-season, very short. It was on Cartoon Network. Episodes are about 10, 12 minutes a piece. Fantastic.
I haven't watched any of those. I mean to, because I would like to know a little more about it.
So that first series, before the computer animated stuff, was really cool. It was ultra stylized. It was quick videos, really fun to watch, really easy to watch, really easy to digest. I thought that was really cool. It gives you a couple new characters to watch out for. It gives you a little more insight into General Grievous and whatnot. And then the cartoon, the follow-on CG cartoon, is tough to get through for the first 2 seasons. But if you keep in mind that any episode that features Jar Jar Binks, you can absolutely skip, no questions. You can get through it a little bit quicker, and you get to some of the meat. And by the time you get to the end, I started watching the last 4 episodes of the series. It's a 4-part series of episodes. You can watch those on their own. You could go on Netflix right now and start with the 4th to last episode, the beginning of that 4-parter, and watch just those. And it gives you a lot of really great story. So it's a worthwhile series. And I've heard good things about Rebels. I got it for Christmas. I only watched the first episode, but I'm gonna get through the rest of that, and I'll let you know how that is. But I hear that's worth watching too. So there's all sorts of good reasons why you shouldn't absolutely skip episodes 1, 2, and 3. But yeah, don't rush to see them.
Yeah, agreed. We'll just touch upon 4, 5, 6 briefly, and then we'll get into 7 because I'm really excited. Freaking amazing.
Yeah, 4, 5, and 6. Amazing. A lot of things are amazing about those movies. One, they were released in a time where nerds weren't cool. Science fiction wasn't cool. The world didn't give a shit. America didn't give a shit. And hearing a new science fiction movie was coming out didn't get anybody that excited. And actually, that's how George Lucas made bank. He took his film to any number of studios, and nobody wanted it. And finally, he came to Fox, and Fox said, "Fine, we'll do it." And they had such little faith in this movie that he was able to write into the negotiations all of the merchandising rights, and he built an empire on that.
He really did.
He absolutely did. This too much to talk about in the few minutes we allotted here, but I've read articles talking about the perfect symmetry of just that one film, shot for shot, front to back. You watch it forward to backward, it's the same things happening, which is a thing that is very difficult to do, and you don't see in very many films. you can get down to the music. The music is phenomenal. John Williams.
Is that what put John Williams on the map?
No, I think he was doing stuff before that. He did Jaws. I guess I'd have to look at the chronology of his stuff, but he had done some stuff already. But everything he does is just
amazing.
Fantastic. I don't know anything about film, so I don't know if this is something that hadn't really been done much, but it was a big release where you have themes for characters that recur. You have this orchestration, this whole composition that tells a story on its own. You have the films following the 3-plot tragedy formula, where you have the first act, where you have the heroes meeting the villains, there's a struggle, and the heroes win. And then the next act begins with the heroes on the run and ultimately losing. The end of that act ends with our heroes in utter despair. We have the fate of Han Solo undetermined, which, by the way, is because Harrison Ford didn't want to do it anymore, and he was hoping he'd be killed. You have the rebellion on the run. Everything is just going wrong for our heroes. And then Act 3, they pick up all the pieces and they ultimately win. And it's this great, really well put together trilogy. And you have a whole host of people interacting here. George Lucas has limitations in Episode 4. He's limited on a budget. He can't do everything he wants to do. So he does the best he can with what he's got, and he comes up with something really great. In the next film, he's got a little bit more money. He's got another director, Irvin Kershner, I think it was his name, who didn't do anything else worthwhile or worth talking about. And apparently there was a huge falling out between the two of them during the filming, and he would be cut out from the rest of the filming. Wasn't even part of Jedi, but one of the best Star Wars films until Episode 7. And then finally, Episode 6 comes around. He's got this vision he's finishing up, but now he's got basically unlimited capital, and he's got free reign. I mean, the Star Wars franchise is taking off, and you start to see some bullshit coming up. You're seeing the Ewoks, and you're seeing the Jabba Palace, and then you've got the re-releases later where he adds bullshit special effects onto this. Greedo shoots first. You can see like this. The more money he gets, and the more he gets in his head that he's created this ultimate thing, the shittier it gets. 4, 5, and 6, really fascinating, really fascinating. And there's tons of stuff out there, books and videos talking about the behind the scenes, not talking about the stories themselves, the behind the scenes, what's going on, what happened here. It's really interesting.
That was pretty amazing, man.
Sorry. I'm a little bit of a nerd.
No, that's okay. I agree wholeheartedly. I forgot. I thought I knew Star Wars pretty well because I burned through them not too long ago. I do not remember. I couldn't remember half the stuff that happened in 4, 5, 6 like I thought I did.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I watched it because it made 7 10 times better.
Yeah, and just warning, like say your brother, because you haven't seen them yet, I don't think that not watching them will not make 7 better, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, so for you and I, having grown up with Star Wars, not only did it refresh our memories, but it just kind of fed that little child of ours that remembers watching these over and over as kids. Because your brother doesn't necessarily have that. He's not missing out by not watching them first.
Right.
That's my thought, my opinion.
Very good. Okay. So 7. So you saw it opening day and you saw it twice.
So let's stop right here. For your brother and anyone else who has not seen 7, stop.
Stop. Yes.
Don't listen to us. We're going to spoil the shit out of this.
Whatever we say, we are not responsible. And seriously, go see it right now. Pause the podcast and go see Star Wars. Okay.
I was getting news updates. Sorry, I'm back.
Any good news?
No. Just more Star Wars adoration.
Oh, nice. So you saw it opening day twice. You saw the 9:30, 40 showing.
Yeah. So technically, we weren't the front runners because people were seeing it the night before.
You didn't see it on Thursday.
And technically, there were showings before midnight, as I understand. So we saw it opening day technically. So that morning. We had a 9:45 show. We went in. We had successfully avoided as much media as we could. We stuck to just the 3 primary trailers.
So you didn't watch any of the overseas trailers, which gave maybe a little bit more away. The one where they had I can't remember her name, lizard lady talking about the eyes.
Correct. So we avoided all the international trailers, all the TV spots, all the ones that had, from what I understand, extra dialogue. We watched those 3 primary trailers, and we watched the supercut of them many times.
I didn't even know there was a supercut. Oh, is it all one?
Yeah, they took the 3 of them, just like the fan edits for the first, and they strung them together, not necessarily front to back. They edited them into one full supercut trailer. It was really cool.
Nice.
It's fun to go back and, you know what, after this, go back and watch it, because
I think I'm gonna have to.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. So we watched those. I shut off Facebook. I unsubscribed from the Star Wars subreddit. I completely disconnected almost 2 weeks before the release of the film. And so we went in at 9:45 in the morning. We had both taken the day off from work. We had purchased our tickets in advance, obviously. The day they went on sale, we bought our tickets. We got to the theater at like 9 o'clock. I don't know why. We had reserved seats even. We got there early. We were just too excited. We actually bumped into another gent from Pratt standing outside waiting to get in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was wearing his Pratt leather bomber jacket, and I think I was wearing my I've got a fleece hot section engineering shirt. So I was like, hey. And I actually think I swear I've seen him around. I probably knew his name at one point, but we were standing outside in the relative cold because the place was still locked. So we were the first people in the theater. We went in. We got ourselves a little obsessed. So we're able to experience that. And here's the hard part. We went, we saw it. We had tickets for 9:45, ended at a little just after 12, and then tickets again for the 1 o'clock. And so we had about 45 minutes or so to go grab a bite to eat there in the lobby and not talk about the things we wanted to talk about. Right.
Right. You didn't want to ruin it for anyone else walking.
It was so hard. It was so hard. That's what she said.
That's what. Damn it! I'm wearing my Michael Scott shirt. You gotta let me finish that.
Sorry. Yeah. So that was great. So that was the first 2 times that we saw it. And then friends, family, people want to go see it. We're happy to go see it with them. Plus, date nights and whatever. So, yeah, seven times so far.
The first 2 were both IMAX, right?
Yeah, actually, thinking back on it now, I think we've only seen it in 2D once or twice. Twice.
Did you see IMAX every time in 3D, or did you?
So I don't believe there's anything that's not IMAX 3D. They're all
really?
IMAX.
No.
I'm sorry. All the IMAX.
Really?
I'm sorry. I believe all the IMAX are IMAX 3D.
Right. You're correct. But did you, the other 3Ds, were they all in IMAX, or were they the?
We saw it in 2D. So we saw IMAX 3D 5 of the times, and then just 2D twice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but tonight was discount night, so it's cheap. I actually started going through my head and trying to think, well, how many tickets have we purchased? What is the average purchase price of these tickets? I took a quick swag. I mean, we've probably spent, because we also bought tickets for her family for Christmas and whatnot, we probably spent about $250 on tickets to go see Star Wars.
I think you guys spent more on that than Paul Blart 2 made.
Probably. Yes, it was worth every penny.
That's awesome. So I waited.
No, come back to me, Mr. Jason.
Yeah, I froze.
Yes.
You froze too. All right.
Okay.
So I waited a day or 2 after Christmas to see it.
Yes.
And it killed me. You knew my struggle. I talked to you every single day about how much I wanted to see it, but I didn't want to see it yet because number 1, I haven't finished catching up on the 6 episodes. Mm-hmm. Number 2, they were sold out every single night for a week straight. The only showings were 11 o'clock at night, and even then, the front row was still available. Everything else was booked. So what was a man to do?
Go to the front row.
I couldn't do it. Not for a 3D movie to top it off.
That's tough, yeah.
I would have the biggest crick in my neck. I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as I ended up enjoying it.
No, it'd be more distracting than enjoyable.
Yeah, so I went. I think it might have been 2 days after Christmas, but it was. I couldn't even get a ticket until the 11 o'clock showing, but it was absolutely amazing. I left with the biggest smile on my face. Wow, I think they did such an amazing job. Kylo Ren, amazing villain. Rey, amazing, strong, female kick-ass character that you don't know too much about, but still pretty amazing.
Still pretty amazing.
The use of actual special effects, practical effects versus CGI. There's CGI, of course. It's a sci-fi movie. They're not actually filming in space. They're not actually flying the X-wings.
You gotta have some stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
And I just heard on a podcast I listened to, the bread in the beginning of the movie, that was actually practical. That was not CGI. They spent 3 months to figure out how to make that real. They did this right.
The part so I figured that, watching it, I was amazed, and I'm trying to think of all the different ways they could do it, and I had in my head envisioned a way to do it, but I think it's completely wrong after you told me that bread was actually edible.
Correct, and they wouldn't recommend eating it, but if you were hungry enough, you can have that and be somewhat satisfied.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty cool. And after you told me that, so on this subsequent viewing, I thought it was a damn shame that they went through all that trouble and they never actually show anyone taking a bite out of it.
I thought they showed Rey taking a bite out of it.
No, they show her slurping up her plate. But
doesn't she clean up her plate with it and then take a bite?
No, not at any point do they show. There's no, at least that I could tell. I'll my next viewing I'll pay extra attention to. But I'm fairly certain I didn't see any shot where they're actually showing her eating that bread, and I thought, oh, that's a damn shame because they spent a lot of time making that work.
I mean, I'm sure it wasn't every day for 3 months, but I'm sure they were.
It was a lot of effort.
Oh, awesome! So, I mean, we just spent 2 minutes talking about bread, but seriously, Kylo Ren, freaking amazing.
Yes,
he had the most kick-ass voice possible. Darth Vader has a pretty amazing voice. But Kylo Ren's was so great. And
I love how Oscar Isaac's character just totally rips on that within seconds. So the first time you hear Kylo Ren talk, or maybe not the first time, but it's in that first scene, and the two come face to face, and he's like, "You talk first, I talk. You talk, I don't know." And then Kylo Ren says something else. He's like, "I can't quite hear you with all this going on here." It was great. It was hilarious. And that was one of the things I loved. I mean, there was comedy, but it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel childish the way it did in 1, 2, and 3. It was really well timed. I mean, J.J. Abrams really has a knack for that.
It was very genuine and so good. I am glad that JJ did such a great job, but I am glad he is only doing the first episode than doing all 3 or the next one too, because he does such a good job at reviving something that I want to see it could go a little bit darker. It could, who knows what can happen. There's so many different avenues, especially the way it ended. You have a great theory, and Rey, awesome character, and the way it ends with her showing up on the island and seeing Luke, and I would love for you to share your theory with the world here.
So let's take a small step back. So for one, they have teased that the next episode is going to be significantly darker. And actually, I also read that after J.J. Abrams got a hand on the script, expressed his dissatisfaction. Yeah, he's sad. He's upset that he doesn't get to direct this in the way a fanboy who loves Star Wars would be upset.
Right, but at the same time, he didn't want to do all two or 3 of them because he wanted to be able to go to the movie and experience that aspect.
Yeah, I think that's great. I just think it's a great story to hear, especially for fanboys like you and me who are excited and looking forward to this. That the guy who revived the series for us. has that much faith in the script already. I mean, that's cool. And they've pushed out the release date by, what, 6 months, 7 months?
Right. I think it was kind of crazy that they were going to have a Star Wars movie and another one within 6 months.
Well, no.
Well, they were going to have Rogue One, and then 6 months later was supposed to be Episode 8.
That's what you're saying. Yeah. But totally different, entirely different crews working on all of that.
Right. Yeah, but
okay, so let's get back to Rey. First, I'll tell you, I'll lay out the whole theory, and then I'll tell you now, after watching it again with that thought in mind, not exactly, but I have another new theory to go on top of this. So, so for those of you who've seen this, and if you haven't seen this, again, just why are you still listening? Go watch it first, because I don't think we've said any major spoilers just yet, but we're about to.
Yeah, we're about to drop some bombs.
So, one of the big questions is, who is Rey? What is her origin? And I've been frustrated with everybody's theories that she's related somehow to Luke or Leia and Han, or even Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'd like to see them stopping with this familial relationships, because it's been done. It's been done throughout the entire series, and it's too much. Now, J.J. Abrams made a conscious effort to redo Episode 4 in this film. There are a lot of parallels. There's a lot of symmetry between the two films.
I think there's a lot of symmetry. Sorry to interrupt. I think there's a lot of symmetry. It was like Episode 4, but they brought in parts of Episode 5 and 6 into it, which helped. It might have been a little fan service, but
so absolutely, there's fan service going on. But I believe that this was J.J. Abrams rebooting Star Wars. He's taking the old guard. He's introducing the new guard. And by the way, he does an amazing job of introducing new heroes. That was one of the things I loved about this film. You walk into this knowing that you're going to get some new people, but I didn't really care about them before watching this film, because I cared about Luke Skywalker. I cared about Han Solo. I want to know what's happening with R2-D2 and Chewbacca. I don't give a shit about this stormtrooper who's going to become a good guy, or some douchebag who flies an X-Wing. Who gives a shit?
Right.
He did a fantastic job creating new heroes. One of my favorite shots is the scene outside Maz Kanata's bar, where our heroes are captured. The New Order's there. They're looking for Rey, and the X-Wings are coming in over the water. And there's one shot where first the 3 troopers guarding our heroes are sniped out of off the ground from some pilot, who then in one single shot takes out 11 TIE fighters. And I counted. I'm pretty sure I got my count right. I'm counting again next time. Takes out 11 TIE fighters in one maneuver, one sweeping shot, and then however many more troopers on the ground. And it's really cool. I mean, it really sets up this character as being this ace pilot. And here's a character that J.J. Abrams was going to kill.
Oh, really?
Oscar Isaac begged him not to kill him. And JJ finally said, well, okay, maybe we can do something with this. And instead he created this cool hero whom I would love to see a spin-off on. I would love to. We're getting these movies in between episodes, right? I want to see a Pope Dameron movie because he's cool. So he did a great job creating these new heroes. And so the movie itself is symmetrical. It's very similar. You've got a Death Star. You've got, the hero starting off on a desert planet. It's Episode 4 all over again, and it's deliberate, obviously. I've heard people complain that it was lazy on J.J. Abrams' part, and I'm calling bullshit, because there's nothing I've seen J.J. Abrams do that has been unoriginal or lazy. Everything he's done has been something creative and new, and something that he's great. I mean, I love what he does.
Was Cloverfield really an original?
Okay, so let me take that back. No. I'm going to say yes, but
I know.
Nothing in this world is original. Everything's been done before.
Absolutely.
But what he's done is he's taken original thoughts from various places and combined it into his new recipe for something original again.
And that's exactly what George Lucas did with Star Wars.
Right. And so to say that because this is the same movie as Episode 4 makes it a lazy movie, I'm calling bullshit. He's not lazy. It was intentional. And it's the way to set up the new era of Star Wars. We're past the George Lucas realm, right? It's now new Star Wars. It's the fans' Star Wars. And so he redid Episode 4. He brought along all the old characters. He killed off some of the old characters. And he gave us new characters that are going to carry through into the future of the Star Wars franchise. And I think that was a very important decision. So all of that to say that it's not even hard to imagine that Rey could very easily be related through familial relations, niece, nephew, daughter, whomever, whatever, to any of the characters that pre-existed. But I hope that's not the case. I hope this is one of the early cases where we break away from the symmetry, from the old guard, and start to create our new Star Wars, the Star Wars the fans love. And so it's very easy to imagine that she was one of Luke's students before whomever went batshit crazy and started killing, and Luke ran off and hiding.
So to that point, though, which I don't know if you fully explained, is the assumption is that Kylo Ren was the one that went batshit crazy. That's what you're meant to believe at the end of the movie, or during the movie.
And so there are a few more things that I picked up on this time where I think they're really kind of leading into that. I think they did mention that he was. Well, let me go back and finish this. My thought was, after the previous viewing, I didn't recall anyone saying specifically Kylo Ren was the student who turned to the dark side and blah, blah, blah. And so I thought, well, what if that was Rey? What if she was the one who had turned to the dark side, and then maybe she was so powerful that she just kind of blew up and she lost memory, or they were able to suppress it and they dumped her off in this outreaches of a planet and hoped that things would work out. And so the scene at the end of the movie where she sees Luke Skywalker isn't Luke going, "Wow, how did you find me?" It's, "Holy shit, it's you." But in the subsequent viewing, it sounds like at one point they mentioned that it was a he that turned.
Wow.
She was probably too young. We see in the flashback that she was a small child, maybe 5 or 6. And while not inconceivable that a child that young could go batshit crazy if she was strong enough in the Force and just start murdering people, because there's some precedence in what's now called the Star Wars legends of young children who are way too powerful. I think there's something in like the Darth Bane set of books that talk about that, but it just doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Okay. So
I'm going to take this a step further and say, well, here's my next thought. My next thought is my hope going into this, and they kind of tease you into thinking before the movie came out that Finn was going to be the Jedi. In all the promotionals, they show him with the lightsaber. They show him, and you think that he's going to, and then you see the movie, and it turns out he's not. But I think he is. And there was one key point that I think really kind of helps this theory that I noticed tonight, and that is when the Starkiller base blows its first load. Skeet, skeet, skeet all over the planet, and it'll blow up. Finn takes a step outside of Maz Kanata's. I'm trying to give me a second there. Okay. So,
I'm sorry.
Finn's standing outside Maz Kanata's. He's loading up the ship. He's trying to take off with some other smugglers to go run and hide. And he looks up in the sky and he sees this ejaculate coming down. And he hears screaming. And then we go to shots from the other planets and we hear the people screaming. And then we go back to Maz Kanata's and we see the rest of the crowd funneling out of her cantina, staring up at the sky with blank expressions in silence. Nobody's screaming as the planets are exploding off in the great, great distance. In what's barely recognizable as a death bolt from the sky. So I think in that initial scene, Finn is staring up at the sky and hearing the final cries of the victims of the Starkiller base. And that got me thinking, okay, so there's some other reasons to think maybe he's got some Force sensitivity. What if he was the one then who turned? What if he was a good Jedi growing up under the tutelage of Luke Skywalker who went bad? I don't know. Very loose. Again, these are very unsubstantiated, just what ifs.
I did like your Rey theory a little bit better. That
Yes.
definitely could be a possibility because it does follow the he. Not trying to be racist here, but it is a possibility because we all know Star Wars doesn't really fully like black people.
It's a very whitewashed series.
It really is.
They seem to be making strides, right? So we've got a very central character who's an African American, which is great. So maybe they're getting away from that. But so just fun things to think about. So if you next time you watch it, think about him as maybe having an inkling for the Force. Maybe he's not just a well-trained stormtrooper who worked in sanitation.
And maybe he's not trained like Rey was possibly trained.
Mm-hmm. So we got some interesting theories there. Another fun thing to think about, kind of in this whole vein a little bit at least, or more to the reimagining this universe, recreating it. Not only do we have the rebellion is gone, now we have the resistance, and the resistance is coming up as a response to not the Empire, which is gone, but the New Order. We also don't have Jedi anymore. We have Luke; he's the last of the Jedi, but we do not have any Sith. I think I lost. Okay, yeah. Nobody is a Darth. We don't know that Supreme Leader Snoke is a Sith. Sith is a religion. It's not the dark side. The dark side and the light side are sides of the Force. They're the opposites of the coin. You have one coin that represents the universe of the Force, and one side is light and the other side is dark. The Jedi are a religion. The Sith are a religion. I think the Knights of Ren is a different following of dark side Force users. And I think what we're seeing is, again, this complete departure from the Lucas Star Wars to the fans' own Star Wars. I'm going to keep calling him that because J.J. Abrams obviously is a huge fan of Star Wars, and this was his creation to give back to the fans. And so I'm going to refer to this as the Lucas era of Star Wars and then the fans era of Star Wars.
I think that's fair.
I think eventually it's going to become Disney's era of Star Wars. We're going to get hopefully high quality numbered movies still, and we're going to get a lot of movies peppered in between, a lot of extra content, and I think we're going to start to see a drop in quality eventually. That's the pessimist in me. They've been able to keep it up with Marvel so far, so maybe we'll get good stuff, but there's going to be a Disneyfication eventually.
They've been going strong with Marvel for a good 7 years now, though.
It's well, yes, but
there have been some dips.
Yeah.
But you're going to have that when you release. How many movies over 7 years have they released that are Marvel?
And that's the thing.
3 a year?
We're going to start seeing that with Star Wars too eventually. We're going to So we're in this happy era now that we're going to call the fans era of Star Wars.
I am going to enjoy the shit out of it while it lasts.
Please do. It's worth enjoying.
I mean, I don't know if I'm going to spend $250 on movie tickets, but I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a fun movie.
So there were some nice fan nods going through the movie. I don't remember too many of them now. I kind of wish we recorded this a little bit farther back, but we wouldn't have heard your amazing theories. When Finn is going through the Millennium Falcon, he's digging through a bag, and then he finds the helmet just a drone.
Yeah.
Training drone. Awesome. I noticed that when it happened. Forgot about it later on until someone else mentioned it in a podcast, but what an amazing small little nod. Those small little nods is what made the movie and just made the movie memorable along with everything else that happened. That was so great.
Mm-hmm. It's fun.
I mean, I loved how he just brought the old characters back, but going into I was a little worried that they would have been a main focus, and they really, really weren't.
Not at all, except for Han Solo.
Right, and I mean...
But he was the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the film.
Yeah, and he needed to be there. He had a focal point to...
He had to lead the heroes to their ultimate adventure and then die. That was his role. He was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the movie's not without its nits to pick. I felt
my cousins they grew up huge Star Wars fans, and then when I talk to them, they're like, yeah, one of them is 16, he's a senior in high school now, the other's a sophomore. So I'm like, I was talking to him at a family event, I'm like, oh, so you going to see Star? He's like, oh, I'm like, dude, your 10-year-old self would kick your ass right now if you don't go see it opening week.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you're probably right. I'm going to go. So they went as a family, and they enjoyed it, but I saw them the day after they saw it, and they're like, yeah, it was good, but I wasn't a huge fan of it. I'm like, shut up. I haven't seen it yet. I talked to them since, and I'm like, dude, just take it for what it is. You can't be nitpicky. Think of what it was 15 years ago. Look where it is now. They were upset that it was set up for it wasn't a movie on its own. Of course, it wasn't going to be a movie on its own.
It's not.
So what were some of the things that weren't the greatest, or people are complaining about?
So I mean, a lot of people started complaining about Rey at the fact that she is, or for lack of a better explanation, too powerful. She's too good at everything she does. How could that possibly be? I mean, she knows exactly where to go and what to do and how to do it. But
didn't Luke kind of do that same exact thing?
No, he kind of faltered and fumbled around and whined like a little bitch.
He was really a big whiner. That fourth movie was so good, but he was so whiny.
Yeah.
So whiny. Like, it made sense as for why Anakin was as whiny as he was.
Yeah.
After watching the fourth movie, because I'm like, it was bad.
Yeah. So some things felt kind of forced. The scene where General Hux is shouting out to the massive army about destroying the Republic. There's no gravitas. There's no weight to that. There's nothing that made me feel anything. I didn't care, and it just felt weird and forced. He destroyed an entire solar system or galaxy. I don't know what they called it. Solar system. Yeah.
Multiple planets in his system. Yeah, probably solar system.
Right? I don't care. Right? The entire Republic just got wiped out, and I don't really care. And
looking back on that, I probably agree with you there, because it just didn't seem like we were invested into that, and it was almost why I think it was just to show off how many stormtroopers they had and
how powerful the new base is and all that. And also to provide that symmetry to the destruction of Alderaan. But at least on Alderaan, we had a reason to care, right? And maybe we weren't that invested, but the first time I watched this movie and I see all these planets blow up, I'm like, yeah, so they killed a lot of people. I mean, that sucks, but they're bad guys. That's what they do. So, I mean, things like that where it just kind of fell a little flat. At the very beginning of the movie, they're trying to find these plans, right? They have this whole village. They murder all these people. They find an X-Wing. They blow it up. There is a single definitive track in the sand showing where a BB unit ran off to. And nobody thinks to check up on that.
Yeah.
Shit like that, right?
Now, to that point, which you may remember, Kylo Ren being as powerful as he was and starting off the movie like that was, number one, amazing. Number two, we've never seen the Force used like that.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool.
Really, really cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any others. I mean, you're the resident expert right now.
Just because I spent too much money.
I plan. So my wife and I, she's never seen it, and I've been always trying to tell her to watch it. And no interest. But now that she knows that Adam Driver is Kylo Ren, she has some interest. So we started watching episode 1. Amelia, unfortunately, has been taking really, really short naps. Not episode 1, sorry, episode 4.
Okay.
So I would like to at least finish episode 4 so she has a basis, and knows some of the characters, and then I could kind of fill in the blanks with 5 and 6, and hopefully after she sees 7, she might want to see 5 and 6. But I do want to go see it in theaters before it's too late.
Yeah, you should. You should. Yeah, it's fun. It's great. I love the crap out of it.
It's so good, man. I think they did an amazing job.
Yeah.
And for anyone who hasn't seen it, who's still listening, number 1, we're sorry. Number 2, it's your own effing fault. Number 3, go see it.
Go see it. Yeah, it's fun. Even if you don't like Star Wars, you might find yourself enjoying it. It's a fun film.
Yes. So, if you would have any questions or responses to the Star Wars podcast, we would love to hear from you. Our email address is koalaandtheroot@gmail.com. And please let us know, because I'm not going to lie, I kind of like watching Star Wars, and I want to hear what you guys think. If you guys weren't as big of a fan as Vin and I were, let us know. Let us know why.
Tell us what stupid fanboys we are, and tell us to get our heads out of our asses and see the movies as they are.
Right. But if you ask me, it was really good. Great job. Awesome. Pick of the week, Vin.
Shit, I should have been prepared, huh?
Well, Rocket my pick of the week is The Force Awakens. I don't know if you heard of it, but I highly recommend you watch it.
Okay. That would have been my pick of the week for the last 9 weeks or whatever. Yeah.
The reason why we haven't been taping every week is because Vin's been. The last time we taped was about 7 weeks ago. Vin's seen it 7 times. So.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say Rocket League. Rocket League's actually pretty fun. It's a.
You play that?
Yeah.
Dude, we're gonna have to play. I got you. What, PlayStation? I mean, it doesn't matter because
doesn't matter. It's crossplay. I've got it on my PC, but I think I do eventually want to get it on PlayStation so that when I have people over, we can do some couch co-op, and then I can also play it with my brother eventually. So, yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game.
Awesome.
Rocket League. Check it out.
Check it out
with cars.
So we went a little long. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Go see Star Wars. If you want to listen to old episodes of the show, let us know. I will give you that information personally. I'll go over that next time. Hopefully, we'll be recording again next week. Or no, sorry, in 2 days.
That's right.
So we're hoping to get some more content out there for you guys. Enjoy the show. Email the show. Tell your friends. We're on iTunes. We're on Stitcher. We are on Pocket Cast and anything and everything in between, I'm pretty sure. So, Koala and The Root.
I like.
That's what she said.